Hi, and welcome to the Wise Women's Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Angela Counsel. And with a background as a naturopath, I thought I knew exactly what happened to women when they reached menopause until I experienced it myself. I then realized that there was so much more to this time of life than what was written in the textbooks. I decided it was time to bring this stage of life out of the closet and to have some open and honest conversations with women who are going through the same journey. Wise Women's Conversation has been created to share information and experiences from other wise women in our community. Sit back and listen to the wise women speak. Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of Wise Women's Conversations, and another solo episode from me today. And I might need to apologize in advance because it's a little bit of a rant. I was in a Facebook group this morning. I'm in quite a few different Facebook groups for women who are in menopause. And there was, I don't know what it was, but something really triggered me this morning. And it was a post that says, menopause sucks. I am sick of this. I've got XYZ symptom. Why do I need to keep going through this? Now, I hear this over and over and over again. Menopause sucks. This symptom is because of menopause, and we get right into really being very negative about what menopause is all about. You know, why is it so tough for women? Why do we have it so hard? And really, I don't know what it was this morning, but it really triggered me. I had to talk about it. And I do have a few notes, so if I'm looking down, that's why. So I'm almost over every symptom that women have being blamed on menopause. Yes, there are hormonal changes going on, but menopause is a stage of life, and not every single symptom is caused by menopause. In fact, no symptoms are caused by menopause. They might be triggered by menopause. They are not caused by menopause. When we go through puberty, and our body changes, and we start to, girls start to notice that, we have, their body shape changes, might get some mood shifts. We don't kind of blame everything on puberty. We don't blame everything and every different symptom on puberty. But we do it at menopause. We kind of get right down on menopause. Why is this so? The hormones that we have, our reproductive hormones, are very, very protective. They protect us. And that means that some of the things that we do with our body in the years prior to us getting to menopause is that we don't always have to look after ourselves the best, and our hormones will actually protect us. The body, its main aim is to stay alive, and it will adjust the way it works so that we stay alive. For females, whether you like it or not, the main function of the female body is to reproduce. And that's why we have these hormones that protect us, so that if we're not eating the right foods, the hormones protect us. If we're in times of stress, the hormones protect us. This is the evolution of the human body. And even though we might be living a 21st century life these days, our bodies are still the same bodies that walked the earth many, many hundreds of thousands of years ago. So we've got to look at this and understand that when hormones shift, we're losing some of the protection. And what starts to come up is the symptoms that are coming up for us is an indication that we haven't been looking after ourselves the best. So it's time to stop blaming menopause and actually take responsibility for the way we have been living our lives. And whether or not that's to do with the food that you eat, whether or not how regularly you move, the way you move, the exposure of all the toxins that we have in the world, the stress levels, the fact that we've, basically been giving everything to everyone and not looking after ourselves. And our mindset plays a really big role as well. So this is what happens once we get to this stage of life. It's also a lot of times a bit of a timing issue. As I said, we've got the same bodies that our ancestors had. but we are living longer. So we're actually, it's a privilege for us as women that are living today, in that when we get to, menopause, our mid-40s, we're kind of halfway there. The average lifespan for a woman, I think, is about 88 years of age. So by the time you get to 44, you're midway, roughly around midway. In the past, we go back a couple of generations, women weren't living much past 50, maybe 55. So they didn't experience as much as what we do. They didn't really, their hormones dropped, but they died shortly after because, as I said, the human race depended on women being a reproductive creature. And just like other animals, once your reproductive years are gone, there is no value for you and technically you die. So, but life's different now. Obviously, we live longer. We're able to, science has allowed us to be able to increase our lifespan. But there are things that start to kind of wear out by the time we get to this stage of life. And that's when we can start to notice different symptoms. So it's not menopause that are causing these symptoms. It's just the age that you're at. So stop blaming it on menopause. And on the other side, if we've lost the protection of hormones, it's not menopause that's causing that. Menopause might be triggering it, but the cause is what you've been doing to your body for the previous 20, 25 years. So, as I said, this is a bit of a rant, and I really just want to shift the mindset, because we generally live unhealthier lives than our ancestors did because of the way we're the life that we live, whether or not it's the food, just even the toxins that we're exposed to, the environmental factors. We're living unhealthier lives. We are more disconnected from our bodies and from nature than our ancestors ever were. It's quite easy for us to live inside the bubble of our houses, then go into the bubble of our car, go into the bubble of where we work. Not so much maybe these days at the moment. We're spending more time inside and we're actually being limited to how far we can go. So we're very disconnected from nature. As women, we're disconnected from our cycles. I have been working with women, with women's health, women's fertility for nearly 20 years. And the majority of women, when they first come to see me, don't really understand what their cycles are about. They don't understand when they ovulate. They can't tell the signs. They've been given, and I was one of these women, given the pill at a very young age, which basically wiped out a cycle. In fact, put you into a chemical menopause, which is something that you don't know either, that, when you're on the pill, the bleed you get is not a period. It's a withdrawal bleed. You have not ovulated. If you haven't ovulated, you can't have a period. Women don't understand this. Women don't know this. And so then they get to menopause and all of a sudden things are changing and they have no idea what their body's all about. And so then they start to beat up on their body and on menopause, saying they're causing all of these problems. So we are so disconnected from our cycles. And there's been so much shame around women's cycles as well, that women, are ashamed to show, and particularly of our generation, to, share about the fact that they have periods, the fact that we do bleed every month, and that carries on till we get to menopause, and women are ashamed of the fact they're in menopause and that their body is changing. So there's so much shame around women's bodies. We live very dysregulated lives. In the past, we lived based on whether the sun was up or the moon was up. That was our life. We had a cycle. We had a rhythm. Our bodies still have that cycle that still has that rhythm, but our life isn't like that. At the moment, I'm sitting here underneath a fluorescent light, which is telling my brain that it's daytime, but I can have that light on at nighttime and it's still telling my brain the same thing. My brain is confused when I'm turning on these blue light fluorescent lights. It's confusing us. Our body clocks are out of whack. We've got so much dysregulation going on with the way that we live our lives. And it's the culmination of all of this this disconnection, this dysregulation, these imbalances. It's the culmination of all of this that seems to kind of come to the fore, almost like a bit of a storm when we get to, you know, our late 40s, early 50s. And at the same time, we have hormone shifting as well. And that's what's causing the discomfort that some women experience at menopause. I have to tell you, not every woman experiences it. So we know that it's not normal to really struggle and suffer in menopause. Because if it was normal, every woman would experience it, and every woman doesn't experience it. So what can we do about it? Really, it's changing the way we're looking at menopause. Instead of thinking menopause is shit, stopping and going, well, what is menopause here to teach me? Menopause is a great teacher. This stage of life is a great time to learn about who you are, to learn about how you disconnect from yourself. What you used to do in the past will not work in the future. You need to change things. You know, and I have women who say to me, well, I've always done this. I've done this my entire life. That doesn't mean it's going to work going forward in the future, because now your hormones have shifted and you no longer have the protection that those hormones gave you. So it may require you to change. It may require you to change the foods that you're eating. The foods that used to work for you in the past may not work for you now. You might start to find that you're putting weight on, even though you're eating exactly the same as you used to do. And I did that. I ate a certain way. You know, I was very much paleo keto. It worked for me. It worked really, really well. Now that I'm in menopause, I need to eat differently because my body is different. My hormones are different. My body is functioning different. It is older. So now I've had to shift. And once I've shifted the way that I eat, I've been able to shed the weight that I was holding onto. I've been able to drop a lot of inflammation. I've been able to get out of pain. So we need to change. And we start with diet. We start with movement. You cannot be doing the same type of exercise at 50 as what you were doing at 20. It just won't work that way because your body doesn't recover as well. You've got, you know, we have issues with joint pain. We have more lax joints. We're losing the elasticity within the tendons, and that happens as the hormones shift, as estrogen comes down. It's just a fact of life. So you need to be working with your body now. It's almost like you've got a new body and you've got the opportunity to create something new. So eating a new way, moving a new way, looking at where you're being exposed to different toxins. What do you need to remove from your life? You know, go and looking at all the stuff that you put on your face, put in your body. You know, do you need to be using as many cosmetics? If you still want to use them, are there better options? Is there ways that you can reduce the toxic load on your body? Because even though the liver is a fantastic organ of detoxification, it wasn't designed to be exposed to the amount of chemicals that we have for as long as we have. The liver was never designed to be living this type of life. We have been, since end of World War II, there have been thousands and thousands and thousands of new chemicals that have been created that we are now being exposed to on a regular basis. Our liver was never designed. It was never created to be exposed to that much. What can you do to reduce the exposure, to take the load off the liver? And I've done other podcasts where I talk about liver health, and I'll put the links to that in the show notes. But what can you do to reduce that exposure? Stress. We live a very stressful life. Our stress now is so different to what our ancestors had. I can remember having a conversation with my sister-in-law, and we were talking about stress and whether or not we're more stressed now than what our grandparents were when they went through the war. Now, yes, going through the war was a stressful situation, you know, particularly when the women were kind of at home and then they were getting, you know, messages that their husbands and their sons were dying. And she said that was more stressful. And it's extremely stressful, but that was an acute stress. What we have now is we have chronic stress. We're being exposed to stress all of the time with the foods that we eat, the environmental toxins, with, being online all of the time, with notifications coming to us all of the time, emails coming to us, just being bombarded with information, sitting there of a nighttime watching the news. It is all being dumped on us. We're, being every single night at the moment, you watch the news and you're getting numbers of people dying, people infected, that countries have to stay closed down, that, we won't be able to move out of our, immediate environment for the next whatever months. We're being bombarded with that all of the time. That is a stress. Now, some of it you can't do anything about. A lot of it you can. You can start to switch off those stresses and start to spend time in some silence and just being very mindful. The word menopause. Listen to that. Pause. It's time to pause. It's time to slow down. It's time to be more mindful of what you are doing and how you're living in the world, and release what doesn't serve you anymore. Toxic relationships, let them go. Release what you don't need in your life anymore. We are very materialistic. We're surrounded by material things, but do you really need them? Are they giving you joy? Is it time to start to release some of the things that you have going on in your life? And the last thing, mindset. Start to shift your mindset. See menopause as the beginning, not the end. Actually, I like to see it as a transformation. Imagine that you are the caterpillar and you've been merrily going along as a caterpillar for the last 45 years. Now it's time for you to go into the cocoon. And there might be some tough times as you grow your wings, but what gives you the strength to become a beautiful butterfly is that struggle. If we cut open the cocoon to try and help the butterfly or the moth come out, it doesn't grow its wings. It doesn't reach its full potential and it will die straight away. This is what this time of life for you is all about. There might be some, tough times, but it's part of the transformation. It's part of you knowing who you are and living into your truest potential and getting the strength so that when the cocoon opens, and it will open when you're ready to open it, you are ready to fly. You have your wings. You become the beautiful butterfly. You become the beautiful moth. This is what menopause is about. It's a transformation. It's the time for you to find who you are. So stop blaming menopause for everything. Menopause doesn't suck. Menopause is not a burden that women have been put with. Menopause is the beginning. Menopause is your opportunity to live the life that you want, to create what it is you want. It's the potential within you, the potential that you lost probably in your early 20s when you started to do what society told you you had to do. This is your time to find you. So that's the end of my rant. If you haven't already got it, I have got a free ebook called Understanding Menopause. Grab it. Just go to the link bit.ly, so bit.ly/menopause_ebook, all small letters, bit.ly/menopause_ebook. Go and grab the ebook. It's got some information in that'll help you understand more about what's happening with your body. It also offers you some natural solutions, some different herbs, some nutrients, some essential oils that'll help you deal with specific symptoms whilst you look at the 5 key steps that I've spoken about today, which is diet, movement, toxicity, stress, and mindset. You know, take a few things to help you feel better whilst you deal with what's really going on. So that's all in that ebook. Plus, there's also a couple of other emails that come afterwards with some additional videos actually different information. Some of them are videos, some are podcasts, but some more information so that you can truly understand what is happening. Once you understand what is happening to your body, I believe with knowledge comes power. You can then make the decisions that will work for you so that you can create what it is you want in your life going forward. This is not the end. It is the beginning. Celebrate it. Enjoy it. This is the beginning of your wise women years. That's it from me. From my heart to yours, infinite love and gratitude. Bye for now.